It is the 41st millennium. Mankind battles for survival across the universe, besieged on all fronts by the heretic, the mutant, and the alien. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. One faction of Space Marines stands amidst the chaos, the mightiest of the Emperor's warriors, and a beacon of light in the darkness. This legion, the 9th Legion of Adeptus Astartes, the Blood Angels.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Yeah, you guys can hear me okay, I think. Yeah, good evening, good evening. How is everybody? It's Sunday night, which means let's check out some army lists. I'm not sure if I believe the Oath of the Moment rumor. But because I'm not going to look in. I don't know. I was going to say, if they nerf Oath of the Moment, which they very well may do, there were some Marine factions that had terrible win rates. So how are those terrible win rate factions affected when they make Oath of the Moment worse? I guess we'll see. You got to remember, the Space Marine Codex apparently was written like 6 months ago. You know, the new book that's just going on pre-order very soon. So if the Codex was written 6 months ago and it was all expecting all their units to have Oath of the Moment and it's now gone, who knows? The thing is, yeah, it seems strange, right? Because, like, they would have had to nerf it. Like, a lot of people said the Space Marine book was written 6 months ago. 6 months ago on their Warhammer community website, they were making a big deal about Oath of the Moment, right? Hey, Mike. Hey, Eternal Crusader. Hey, Frankenstein. I don't know what to believe. I'm sticking my head in the sand, and when I actually see the rules, then I'll make my opinion. Anyway, tonight, let's get into some army lists for Blood Angels using the new points costs that came out a couple of weeks ago. The first one is by Ray Drone. I'm 3-9. He's been working on a list for a while. He just beat a skilled Necron player with a very similar list. Wave 1 is Infiltrator Screen the Front Line. Do you know what? We'll read everything and then we'll come back to what his tactics are. So we've got a Biologist, we've got a Chaplain. I like the Chaplain having the Power Fist over the Bolt Pistol. I think that's the right call. I think the Biologist might be attached to those aggressors to give them lethal hits. We've got Death Company Dreadnought. We've got 10 Death Company Marines. They could very well be attached to the Chaplain. We've got Death Company with Thunderhammers, which I just think are useless now. Someone was mentioning last night that some Death Guard characters, you'll only be able to hit them with 6s on Thunderhammers because they're -1 ballistic skill and they're -1 to hit. Thunderhammers have that weapon skill. -1 weapon skill, -1 to hit. I think Power Fists are way better than Thunderhammers now, and you get an Infernal Pistol as well. So I really dislike Thunderhammers at the moment. The Lancer, it's still good even at 160 points. Inceptors, I think I prefer Inceptors with Bolters. But I guess if you want to kill some enemy elites, then potentially Inceptors could do that for you. I just think the Bolters seem like they might be better now because they're 2 damage. And they have sustained hits too, I believe, and they get more shots. We've got Infiltrators ×2. We've got Land Raider Redeemer. I still haven't brought myself to run a Redeemer. I think the regular Land Raider lost a lot of points, seems pretty good. I guess the Redeemer is not too bad. Double Flamestorm Cannon. I mean, it's decent in Overwatch, I guess. And then a Vindicator and a Repulsor. Interesting. Okay, so 3 tanks, 2 Infiltrators, Inceptors. Oh, the Gladiator Lancer makes it 4 tanks. 10 Death Company, 5 Death Company. The Dreadnought makes it like 5. The Aggressors and the Bolter Discipline. Yeah, I can't see any reason to run Thunderhammers anymore. I already didn't see any reason to run Thunderhammers because I felt they were bad if you ever come into a -1 to hit matchup. But if you come into a -1 to hit and -1 to... then you'll just never hit with those Thunderhammers. Even if you use Oath the Moment, you won't do any damage. So wave 1, he's going to use his infiltrators to screen the middle of the board. Wave 2 is going to use the Vindicator, the Land Raider, and Repulsor to move into the midboard. Maybe get the aggressors out. Okay, so the aggressor's probably in one of the transports. Or the Foot Death Company if the target's available. I think I prefer Blade Guard veterans over the Foot Death Company. I think the Blade Guard do what the Foot Death Company do anyway, and I don't think Thunderhammer is all that good. Wave 3 is pushed with both the Death Company and the aggressors. Death Company can come in from a flank, the Death Company Dread. Wave 4s are jump units to counterpunch. The Death Company and Lancers screen the backfield early game. The Inceptors do actions. Interesting to use Inceptors to do actions at 115 points. I mean, I guess they can get into lots of different little spaces because of their 3-inch deep strike rolls. But, I don't know, I feel like a squad avoidsman. I guess the other thing about Inceptors is they do have a decent 10-inch move, so you could potentially move them when... Are the weapons assault as well? They are, aren't they? So you could assault, or you could advance. You can move 10 inches and advance and do an action. Do you know what? Maybe Inceptors are better than I thought. I missed the fact that Inceptors used to be able to... when this unit is set up in the battlefield, set them up with 3, and all their weapons are assault. Yeah. So they could actually be quite a maneuverable unit to do actions. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate that, I guess. A few other people tuning in. Master Prophet, good evening. Confirmed Oath is going to get nerfed. How can you know? The Space Marine Codex was written months ago, apparently. That's what people in the stream were telling me last night. So what, the Space Marine Codex has leaked? And it didn't have... when did they announce Oath of Moment? I don't know. I was going to say, if you search Oath of the Moment 10 edition... Is this when they announced it? April. So someone said last night on my stream that they think the Space Marine Codex was written 6 months ago. This is September, we go back 6. August, July, June, May, April, March? Yeah, 6 months before September is March. So literally, if this Space Marine Codex had to be written 5 months ago, 6 months ago to release now, then when they were printing the Space Marine Codex 6 months ago, they made a communique article saying that Space Marines were this was going to help Space Marines. We're going to give them a cool faction moment that rerolls hits and wounds, and then at the same time they were printing it in the book that it's a different rule to the one they're announcing on the community page. I don't know. I don't know if I believe that. I guess we'll see, right? Even if the minus to hit, you still get rerolls to help. Oh yeah, I suppose you get rerolls to help, but even hitting on... So if you're -1 to hit, and your -1 weapon skill, only hitting on 5s is really brutal, even with rerolls to hit. There's no point guessing, says Eternal Crusader. Yeah, pretty much, there's no point guessing. So, I guess if you want to take a mixed army list, this is probably something what you're looking at, is you've got 4 tanks, a Vindicator, a Repulsor, a Redeemer, and a Gladiator. That almost gives you 2 anti-armor tanks in the Vindicator and the Gladiator, 2 anti-sort of infantry tanks in the Redeemer and the Repulsor. You then have the Death Company Dreadnought. Then you have Infiltrators for screening, Inceptors for deep strike, 2 Death Company, 1 on foot, 1 with jump packs. A Chaplain with the Death Company, give them +1 to wound. And then the Aggressors with the Bolter Discipline. Yeah, I mean... There's not a lot to tweak in that list. I feel like I just don't like Death Company on foot. I prefer them all with jump packs. And I think with the changes to the Land Raider, I think I prefer the regular Land Raider over the Redeemer. I was going to say, do I feel like you need 2 squads of infiltrators, or would 1 squad of incursors be good? Yeah, that's a tough call. I haven't tried this aggressor squad, the 6-man aggressors with the apothecary biologist yet. I did build my biologist on stream last night, and I like the idea. So 6 aggressors plus the biologist could go in the Land Raider. Um, I do like the idea of just having those guys teleported around by the librarian dreadnought. So the Land Raider has a capacity of 12, and the Redeemer has a capacity of 14, isn't it? So you have to run the Redeemer, I guess, to fit the Apothecary with the Biologist. Okay. I mean, I guess I can be on board with that because you've got a Lancer and a Vindicator. And the Repulsor has like the Las Talon and a twin Las Cannon, so it's got a little bit of anti-vehicle punch as well. The Redeemer really doesn't have any anti-vehicle punch. Flamestorms, Multi-Melta, Twin Assault Cannon. I guess you could get a couple of mortal wounds from the Twin Assault Cannon. Evening one, how you doing? Yeah, I don't think there's too much you can tweak in this list, honestly. Like, if it was me, I'd probably run like Death Company with jump packs and have like 3-man Blade Guard. Because I was going to say, Death Company with jump packs is like 130 points now. So yeah, I would, and then I'd probably give this Chaplain like a jump pack as well. Because and also I'd swap out the Thunderhammers. I think they're rubbish now. I think they were kind of rubbish before Death Guard. I'm going to play Death Guard on Wednesday, and I'm expecting that to be a pretty tough game actually, because Death Guard have had significant points dropped, and they've got that new aura. Yeah, I mean that's about all I change. I think this is a very playable list, and maybe if I could fit in some Incursors, I'd do that as well, because I don't know if I feel like I need 2 squads of Infiltrators at the moment, and then maybe the Bolters on the Inceptors, but I mean that's just personal preference. I don't like firing Inceptors in high power, I never have. And I guess if you fail, because I don't run them, I don't really know how... If you shoot all 6 of them, or you shoot all 6 plasmas, and you shoot them all in high power, statistically, one guy's still going to die. So I think I'd rather just have the Bolters, and yes, I have a little bit less strength, but I'm not killing my own guys, right? I very much... I feel like command points are so precious, I'm very unlikely to have command points available to re-roll... what are those called? Hazardous weapon checks. Like, I don't want to be using command points to deal with those. Welcome to everyone that's tuning in. If you could leave a like on tonight's stream, it'd be super appreciated. I would appreciate that. We do our live Army List show every Sunday night, so if you want to get your list on the show, all you got to do is put your list, print it out, something like this, like an export from the Warhammer app or Battlescribe or something, put it into the video description, the comment section of this video after the show ends, and we'll get you on the show in a couple of weeks' time, something like that. Bolter Inceptors have been poor for me. I guess it depends on what you're targeting. I think with the Bolter Inceptors, you have to target stuff that's toughness 5 or less, because they are strength 5. So you never want to give them a bad matchup. So if you're using Bolter Inceptors, you have to be targeting stuff that's toughness 5 or less. If you go higher than that, you just have to expect to kill very little. I did a video on Inceptors a few weeks back, and the Bolter ones are very good against toughness 5 and less, but they're rubbish against everything else. The Plasmas were a bit meh against everything, but yeah, I mean, I definitely did a video on Inceptors with some data there. Andrew, I see that you are a member. There is a link to a folder that members get access to. I'll post it up again because I haven't posted it in a little while. But members get access to a folder of all the slides I made for 10th edition of Warhammer 40,000. And like I guess I make slides every week for my weekly tactics videos. So if you don't want to trawl through the videos, you can just look at the slides and get the numbers. I'll make sure that I link that in like the community page on the members. But I do have like I was going to say, I think I've got it in a folder called like 10th edition. I'll find it. But yeah, Inceptors did very well against T5 and less. Let's see. Was this it? Yeah, here we go. Assault Bolters against toughness 3, toughness 4, toughness 5 kill like 5 models. Then beyond that, they kill nothing. Whereas plasmas on low power kill about half. On high power, they kill less, but then I guess you get some elite kills with the plasmas. So statistically, if you're fighting toughness 3, 4, or 5, the bolters outperform the plasmas even on high power. I mean, you know, the math sometimes doesn't tell the whole story. You got to play it in some games, right? Yeah. Okay, next up, Bravidus. He is running a Gladiators list with Dante and Lamartas. He's got 1 squad of Intercessors, that's his only battle line. He's 2 Ball Predators, a Death Company Dreadnought. Death Company Marines with jump packs times 10, another Inceptor squad, an Incursor squad. Incursors are really good now, actually, 85 points versus like the 105 points of Infiltrators. The Librarian Dreadnought, the Repulsor Executioner, 5 Sanguinary Guard, a Whirlwind, and a Vindicator Assassin. Just played against Votan, they sure wrecked my vehicles, +1 to wound for everything against my Land Raiders, Repulsors, Dreadnoughts, Vindicator, they just died so fast. Do you ever smoke screen anything, Jasper, or you just it didn't really matter? I was gonna say I think I'm playing Death Guard this week and Votan next week. But Votan were apparently really, really bad, so it sounds like the balanced status slate has helped them a bit for sure. What was the bulk of the Votan army? They're +1 to hit and wound. That's judgment tokens, right? Alright, so it'll be Dante with a Sanguinary Guard, Lamartas with a 10 Death Company, Double Ball Predator, Death Company Dreadnought, Intercessors, Incursors, Librarian Dread, Executioner, Whirlwind, Vindicator Assassin. I mean, it seems gonna say, it seems like an okay list, this list. Maybe I think my opinion of Ball Predators with heavy flamers is they probably need to be getting buffs from like a Thunderstrike. Because they'll kill infantry, but they won't kill anything else. Michael played 9 tanks yesterday in a small tournament. You played Space Marines using 9 tanks, or what? Or Blood Angels using 9 tanks? Incursors giving +1 to hit is decent, but I guess that doesn't help. The +1 to hit on the Incursors is possibly actually a bit wasted in this list, because there's not much that can take advantage of it. Maybe the Whirlwind, maybe the Executioner. I think Dante and the Sanguinary Guard are not as good as like a generic chaplain with Death Company. I've mentioned that. I think the Death Company Dreadnought is fine. I think the Inceptors are probably fine. These got the bolters on them, so I like that. I think the Librarian Dreadnought possibly is okay, but I don't know if there's any real units here that are going to benefit from the teleport of the Librarian Dreadnought. I don't see any. I mean, like, if you're teleporting Sanguinary Guard, you still need to make an 8-inch charge. You're teleporting Death Company, you still need to make a 9-inch charge. It's not great. The Whirlwind, I think, is kind of average. It was super important to take a Whirlwind last edition. Now I think it's kind of average. Like, I don't really know what you get from bringing a Whirlwind, except some minor damage, indirect fire. I think there's better ways you could spend 150 points now. You already got a Vindicator Assassin to sit on your backfield objective and be lone operative. I don't know if you need the Whirlwind. Yeah, and you've got Intercessors. I guess maybe you're going to teleport your Intercessors around with Librarian Dreadnought. I don't know. I think that, like, in this list, I think like losing Librarian Dreadnought and maybe replacing him with a Thunderstrike might be, they're the same points, 170. Might be better to get +1 to wound on all those flamer shots from the Double Ball Predator. I also think that maybe the Whirlwind is a mistake. I think you could possibly save like another 100 points if you took a generic Chaplain and a Death Company. The generic Chaplain and Death Company are like 230. Dante and the Sanguinary Guard are 295. They're like 65 points more, and it's I wouldn't even say it's better. I'd probably say it's Yeah, maybe Dante makes them a tiny bit better. But I don't know if he makes them 65 points better. Maybe. I'm not sold on Sanguinary Guard in their current iteration at all. Okay. Anything else to say about the list? I don't like 10-man jump squads, personally. I think it's too difficult to hide them in cover and stuff like that. And I think that when an opponent gets a bead on a unit, they can just kill the whole unit. So I personally am not planning, and then they're vulnerable to blast as well. I'm not playing any 10-man jump squads. I don't think I've seen anyone win a tournament playing 10-man jump squads yet. I guess when we see that, then maybe we can consider doing it, but I don't think it's happening. The Land Fortress has a 0-up save. Why? Because what gives the Land Fortress a 0-up save? It's got a 2-up save. Normally, it's still got void armor and it has cover as well. I guess being able to teleport the intercessors around with the Librarian Dreadnought is fine. I'm not sure I love the Whirlwind as a pick either. Indirect fire has not been performing for me. Well, even against me. I've played a couple of games against indirect fire. So you're averaging about 6 shots. You hit on 3s, but it's probably 4s because you can't see the enemy. So you get 3 hits, strength 8, -1 because the opponent probably gets cover. Yeah, I mean, 3 hits, wounding on probably 2s or 3s. They're only -1. Maybe you kill a couple of guys. Yeah, maybe Storm of Fire would have been a good option if you were playing Gladius against Votann. Because Storm of Fire would make you ignore cover and give an additional point of AP. So if you had something like a Vindicator tank, it would have been -4. The Land Fortress doesn't have an invuln save, right? So if you hit it with -4 and you ignore cover, then it would save only on a 5. I think a Vindicator is just really good tank at the moment, actually. Yeah, I like a Vindicator a lot. I like them more. I liked them before they went down to 190 points. I think they're even better now. You only play Sons of Sanguinius. Yeah, I guess they've got nothing that buffs shooting, I guess. It's silly that Red Rampage doesn't give extra AP, honestly. Go for it, Painting. Good evening. That was something that I thought, like, the +1 strength that Sons of Sanguinius gets, for the most time, does nothing. I would have rather it was been +1 AP. It feels silly to have Blood Angels have no... The only thing in our codex that can give us additional AP is the Sanguinary Priest, and he can't attach to our 2 most deadly units, like the Death Company and the Sanguinary Guard. I don't know the logic behind that. It's a strange one. It's a very strange one. Okay, this is a decent list. But yeah, I think I would make a few tweaks. I think if you're going to run a bunch of Ball Predators, though, I think you probably want the Thunderstrike. The guy that won the tournament running a bunch of Ball Predators ran the Thunderstrike. Okay, next up, Chris. This is also a Gladius list, 2,000 points. Alright. He's got a Judicaire with Honor Vehement. That gives him +1 attack, +1 strength. And if he's in Assault Doctrine, it's +2 to both. He's got a Primaris Apothecary with Artificer Armor. I think this is probably unneeded. Because I'm assuming he's attached to a unit, so why does he need Artificer Armor? And then a Primaris Lieutenant with Bolt or Discipline. He's got an Impulsor, he's got 6 Blade Guard. I assume they're attached to the Judicaire. He's got an Eliminator Squad, a Lancer, a Hellblaster Squad, an Infernus Squad. Wow, I haven't seen anyone run Infernus. Go for it, Painting. Did I say hello to you already? I'm not sure. Hello, anyway. We've got Librarian Dreadnought. We've got a Repulsor Executioner. We've got a Sternguard Squad. This is an interesting list. There's a Thunderstrike in there, and then there's a Whirlwind in there. Paddy, what's happening? Yeah, we're... Wow, this is a... I feel I have a similar view of armor. This list is adjusted from my last attempt. I replaced the Phobos Librarian and the Desolation Marines with a Judiciar and 6 Blade Guard as a tournament list. So the Bolter Discipline must be with the Stern Guard, I assume, because I don't know who else you would attach to. You can't attach to the Infernus Marines. You could potentially attach to the Hellblasters, but I think you would be attaching them to the Stern Guard. You've got 9 guys with those Stern Guard bolt rifles. You've got the Thunderstrike to give +1 to wound. You've got the Executioner there. What was his other character? The Primaris Apothecary. Oh, maybe the Apothecary would be with the Hellblasters. Man, you should. Okay, if you're submitting a list to me and there's multiple ways for your units to attach, you need to tell me. If you're running Gladiatus, aren't aggressors better than Blade Guard veterans? I mean, they're different, right? Blade Guard have that 4-up invuln save. Aggressors, I guess, have potential more damage output with Bolter Discipline. So 6 Blade Guard with the Judiciar for the fight first. The Lancer and the Executioner for like heavy support. The Thunderstrike to give them +1 to wound. The Whirlwind, I guess, to hold the backfield. 10 Stern Guard. 10 Infernus Marines. I've never seen these guys. I guess it's 10 D, so average it's like 30 auto hitting, strength 5, no AP flamers. It's the no AP that does it for me. I think no AP kind of sucks. You got 5 Hellblasters, I assume, with the Apothecary, so you're bringing them back to life and they can shoot when they die. Eliminators to maybe snipe something. The Blade Guard will be in the Impulsor, which will ride forward. It's not my favourite list. I mean, it does have a decent amount of armour in here. We've got like 6 armour units. But like, I'm struggling to see too many synergies. Like, the Thunderstrike will synergize with the Executioner and the Lancer. The Whirlwind, we just agreed, doesn't do very much damage and it sits in the backfield for 150 points. Great. Librarian Dreadnought can teleport some things around. I guess you could teleport your Stern Guard, your Infernus, your Hellblasters. I mean, that's okay, I guess. But I don't see any of those units as, like, crazy damage output. I guess the Stern Guard could do a lot of damage output, potentially. But I've not played them myself. And there's the Stern Guard Bolters. I know they got Dev Wounds, but Dev Wounds just kind of got nerfed a little bit, right? Where's the Stern Guard? Here we go. 2 shots per guy. Rapid fire 1. So I guess if you teleport them, you get 30 shots out of the 10. 5s and 6s would be auto wounds at -1. I guess if you played Storm of Fire, these guys might be okay. 5s and 6s, 30 shots. It's 10 auto wounds at -2. Yeah, I mean, they're not bad. I just don't know, like... So 10 Stern Guard. Get 30 shots. What do 6 aggressors get? Six aggressors with the bolters get 6 plus... I mean, they get 36 on average. I guess that's why people like the bolters aggressors. And their blast. And one set of them is twin linked as well. Yeah. I think the Stern Guard look okay, but I think that the bolter aggressors are like a better choice. I assume he's got bolter discipline. Yeah, I think aggressors would be a better choice here. I don't know if I rate Infernus squads at all. I think if I was going to pay for flamers, I think I'd pay for a Ball Predator. Then I'd have about 50 points left over to take like a squad of Voidsmen or something. Hellblasters are not my thing. I don't know if I guess the Hellblasters with the medic, it's quirky, you bring a guy back alive. I guess after your Blade Guard out your Impulsor, you could put all your Hellblasters into your Impulsor. I just don't know. I just don't think I see enough value out of the plasma weaponry. They did give them their weapons like assault. I just don't see it. 2 shots per guy, assault, heavy. On a 3+, they get to shoot when they're destroyed. Then you bring one back alive. It's quirky. You get 18 shots from the bolters, yes, Stephen, but then you get if you've got 6 aggressors, you would get 66 shots from the frag grenades, right? And they're the same. And I guess probably the advantage of using the aggressors is then you can use the aggressors with Storm of Fire and choose the nearest enemy because you've teleported them, and that makes them -3 probably. Yeah, that's what I was saying. So 66 average with blast. Yeah, if you want to run bolt or discipline with like Sternguard, I guess you're better off using aggressors. And then aggressors will kill shit in melee, whereas Sternguard aren't going to do nothing in melee. Okay, I mean, this list doesn't seem too bad, but for me, it just there's a few units in there that I don't rate. Like, I don't rate the Whirlwind at all. I think the Sternguard looks okay, but the aggressors I think is better. The Infernus squad I don't rate at all. I think the Ball Predator would be better. Hellblasters I don't rate at all. Eliminators I actually don't really rate either. Because I think like it's like 1 game in 5 you manage to actually snipe an enemy character. I think you'd be better with like infiltrators or something like that. So overall the list seems okay. It just seems like there's a bunch of units that are not top tier units in my opinion. Paddy says, do you think a Brutalis for 175 points is a better option than a Leviathan Dreadnought? Well, I mean, the Brutalis is better because the Leviathan Dreadnought is Legacy and Legends, and you can't play it in tournaments anymore. If I run the Brutalis, I can get the Bolter Scout Squad into my list, as I've got 65 points to play with. I think the Scout Squad is also Legends until this new one comes out. You could always run Voidsman at Arms, Paddy, though, because I think Voidsman at Arms are a really useful unit. They're super cheap. They're OC2. They always score points. They're on like 25mm bases. Ever since I've been playing, probably like a year now. Yeah, I think probably like a year now. I just use Voidsman in every single game. Aggressors with Bolter Discipline. Gravis Apothecary can sandblast a lot of stuff with -2 AP. Yeah, that's what I was saying. So you get -1 AP from Storm of Fire, and you ignore cover, and you get another one -1 AP from shooting the closest target because you teleported them in, right? So I think Bolter aggressors are pretty good. Scout snipers are going to the Codex, but the new scouts will be in the Codex. All right, so it's the scout snipers that are legends. Are scouts better than Voidsmen? I mean, maybe. We haven't seen the new profile for the scout yet, though, have we? Chronosain has finally caved and he's running Gladiatus. Only took you like 12 weeks, dude. -1 from Storm of Fire, -1 from shooting closest. Unfortunately, you don't run Gladius. You should try Gladius, man. I think it's much stronger than Sons of Sanguinius at the moment, honestly. The scouts have 2 wounds and toughness 4. Yeah, okay, so scouts with bolters might be okay. I imagine scouts are still going to be in small bases. So, because that's the one thing that the Voidsmen have going for them. The 5 guys on 25mm bases are friggin' tiny. It's almost the equivalent of like, if you imagine the base size of like 2 Gravis Marines or 2 Blade Guard veterans, you can fit basically all 5 Voidsmen into that footprint. So that's one of the main advantages of Voidsmen, is like they can sneak into lots of little holes that the opponent think might have been screened up or something like that. Yeah, I don't see the point in Artificer armor here as well, because that's only going to become relevant, really, when the whole squad's dead. That's why, like, any relic now, that's another thing, like, a captain with a jump pack that's leading, let's say, Sanguinary Guard. Before, it would have made sense to give him a storm shield, right? Because, like, he could have been targeted and killed because he was an individual model. In about 12 games I've had of, like, 10th edition, I think I've been hit with, like, precision attacks, like, one time. I wouldn't put a relic shield on a captain anymore, for example. I know the relic shield gives him +1 to wounds, so he has 6 wounds rather than 5, like a jump captain. I'd just give him an Infernal Pistol and like a Power Fist. I don't see any reason to give him the Relic Shield, same as here. I don't see really any reason to give Artificer Armor. If the whole squad's dead, then the Apothecary's dead as well, right? Having Artificer Armor isn't going to make any difference. A Gravis Captain with Artificer Armor is tank. Run him solo. A Gravis Captain with Artificer Armor. Are you taking the piss, Mike? Two up and a 5 up, feel no pain. But he's got a 3 up and a 4 up Invan, the Gravis Captain. Three up, 4 up. Oh, the Gravis Captain's half damage. I don't know. I guess a 5 up feel no pain doesn't hurt when he's got 6 wounds and he's half damage. Damage rounds down when you half it, right? Or does it round up? No, it used to round up. Does it still round up? Yeah, it rounds up. He can have 5 attacks with a Power Fist. And then he gets 1 extra attack. Does he get extra attacks from all 3 weapons? No. This model's mastercrafted bolt rifle can be replaced with the Boltstorm Gauntlet. Oh, right, so he's got 1 Power Fist and 1 Relic Chainsword. I guess he gets extra attacks with each weapon he has, right? So you'd probably want to do the 1 Power Fist and 1 Relic. Oh, right, okay, so he gets 3 attacks with a Chainsword, or he gets 2 attacks with the Relic Blade, or he gets 1 extra with a Fist. Oh, that makes sense, okay. Then the Relic Blade or the Fist, for me, I think would be the best choice. So he has either 6 attacks with basically a Power Fist, or 5 attacks with a Power Fist and 2 attacks with the Relic Blade. That might be the more versatile option, but alright, yeah, I mean, I put the Feel No Pain relic on the Gravis Captain. I honestly don't know if there's many other characters I would put that on. Just so you can attach to aggressors, and the aggressors can have the biologist attached as well as that guy? Yeah. So you get lethal hits. And if it's a model that destroys an enemy as a melee attack until the end of the battle, this model has an objective control characteristic of 9. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess the Gravis Captain plus the aggressors is actually pretty interesting. Okay. it might need the teleportation from, like, you might be needing to get the teleportation out from the Librarian Dreadnought to make that cool. But, you know, you could also use a Land Raider Repulsor. Why not give hits vets and use a Relic Blade? Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm thinking. Would you use the free strat with him? Just Armor of Contempt. Well, also, what about Honor? Well, if you're doing Gladius, it's all Honor the Chapter. If you're doing Sanguinius, it's Red Rampage will still be good in him. Don't attach the captain, run him solo. Why would you not attach him? If you attach him, it's more shots for your lethal hits. And it means if you teleport him, I think that the squad only fits in a Crusader. I actually don't think it fits in the Crusader. If you attach both the captain and the biologist, at that point, I think you have to teleport it with Librarian Dreadnought. Hey Carl, how's it going? Yeah, good. Oh, it would fit in a Land Raider Crusader. Okay, yeah, I guess it would fit in a Crusader. I don't think there's, like, no one's running Crusaders though. Their weapon armament, I don't know if it makes a lot of sense. Like, Crusaders can just kill. There's no option. 2 Hurricane Bolters, a twin assault cannon. Yeah, I mean, his weapon options suck. Absolutely suck. 6 bolter shots. No. 12 bolter shots twin linked. And 6 assault cannon shots twin linked. Yeah, I mean, like, you're paying like 260 points for this. The guns suck. Yeah, they absolutely suck. The assault cannon is so underwhelming now. I guess you get a free multi-melta for whatever is that worth. Strength 9 multi-melta. 100 killer. Yeah, I know, I think if you run that, you want to run a Librarian Dreadnought and just teleport them around. I think that's the way to do it. I think I'll do that in one of my next games. I'll teleport. I'm trying to decide if I want to take the Gravis Captain as well. Because if you add the Captain, and the Biologist, and the Bolter Discipline, and the Aggressors, that's a 400 point squad. And it's going to be a pretty slow squad. You don't benefit from his survivability till the squad is dead. Yeah, I suppose. But you can't teleport him. You can't. What am I trying to say? You can't bring him with the squad unless you're running Crusader. I don't know. Solo characters for me haven't really been doing it, I guess, in 10th edition. Yeah, I mean, but let me go back to my original point. I don't think this Primaris Apothecary needs a Feel No Pain. I don't really like it. I think it's a waste of points. Okay. What's up next? Next we have Bunta. And he's running a Gladius list again. Well, I think 3 Gladius lists tonight. So the Chaplain with Jump Pack with the Crozius and the Honor Vehement. I honestly think drop the Bolt Pistol. Is a weapon that does nothing. Replace this with a Power Fist, because you can do that on that Chaplain. And you got the Sanguinar. Okay. You got Ball Predator times 2. You got Death Company Dreadnought times 1. Double Heavy Flamer. The Balls are both all Flamers. I think I like Heavy Bolter Sponsons on the Balls, but that's just me. Jump Pack and Death Company, Infernal Pistols, Power Fists, a Lancer, a lot of Inceptors. This time it's Bolter Inceptors, a squad of Infiltrators times 2, an Executioner, a Thunderstrike, a Vindicator, and a Whirlwind. This is like a carbon copy of the other list we looked at earlier in the stream. Like, it's so similar. Wow. Unfortunately, I closed that window, but it's super similar. The melee enhancement is better on the Gravis Captain, I think. Might not be bad on the Gravis Captain, because it would give him strength 10. And he'd have like 6 attacks on the Power Fist, hitting on 2s. No, he'd have 8 attacks on the Power Fist, hitting on 2s, sorry. Does the Captain receive his own abilities if he's not attached to the squad? It depends on how it's written. Like, sometimes they don't benefit from their own abilities. I'm pretty sure the Gravis Captain does, though, because his one is just like half incoming damage The right of battle one, let me see how it's worded. Once per battle round, one unit from your army with this ability can be targeted. Yeah, so he would class as a unit even though he's on his own. So yeah, he could use the strat for himself, and each time allocated to the model, he could half the damage. So his abilities help himself, whereas like a chaplain with a jump pack, his abilities do not help himself. Like, while this model is leading a unit, so obviously if he's on his own, he's not leading a unit, he doesn't get the +1 to hit. So sometimes it's kind of how they're worded, Stephen, whether or not you get the bonus. Right, so I said earlier, I don't think I love the Whirlwind. I do like the Vindicator. I think there are... If all the moment does get changed, or even if it doesn't, I think there's a lot of value in a Thunderstrike. The Executioner looks good as well. Double Infiltrators is good. Inceptors to score. The Lancer as well. The Jump Death Company with the Chaplain. The Double Ball Predator and the Dreadnought. I mean, Sanguiner to basically score or fight. And the Chaplain with the Jump Pack, definitely switch out. You're giving him the relic that gives him more strength and attack, so you want him to have the Power Fist. So just drop the Bolt Pistol, take the Power Fist. 100%. Yeah, about the only thing I don't like here, I suppose, is I don't think you need the Whirlwind. I don't think it brings much anymore. Like, it doesn't do very much damage. Like, if you're shooting indirect, you're going to get about 6 hits, and you hit on 4s. So you're going to be able... And you're only going to be -1 AP if you're indirect as well. Ray says, unfortunately, my jump units just have Thunder Hammers. Well, just tell your opponent that they've got Infernal Pistols and Power Fists, Ray, because I'm running a lot of Death Company with the wrong weapon options. They're no longer... Like, all my models used to be WYSIWYG, which means, like, what you see is what you get. But because they keep changing all the rules for everything, like, every edition, a bunch of my model... Like, I'm just running my models with whatever weapons they have, and I'm just telling my opponent before the battle, like, hey, those guys, if one of the weapons isn't right, and I think that might be the only squad on my list that's wrong, I'm just telling them that, like, hey, the Death Company have Power Fists now because Thunderhammers suck. And I'm not gonna rip the amount of times I have ripped the arms off units and remagnetized them and repainted them and resprayed them and all that nonsense. I'm done doing that. So I'm like, I've been to tournaments before where the opponent has basically said to me, like, hey, here's my dreadnoughts. They don't have these weapons on them that you see. They are las cannons, or they are such and such. And I've been like, fine, sure, thanks for letting me know. So I'm just doing the same. I'm not going to run any Death Company with Thunderhammers anymore because I think they suck. And unfortunately, I'm not going to run any Death Company with Chainswords because I think they suck. And guess what? I've got all painted Thunderhammers and Chainswords. I don't have any friggin' Power Fist guys painted because they were rubbish up until... They've been rubbish for like 6 years. It's been Thunderhammers or Chainswords or nothing, right? So it's like, I'm done ripping off. I'm done ripping off arms. I'm sick of it, honestly. Death Company on Power Swords, on the other hand, delete chaff. Yeah, I mean, I guess. Well, I mean, Death Company with Power Swords will delete chaff. Sure. Chainswords to a certain point will still delete chaff, but the stupid, like, forced points costs has kind of removed the reason to play Chainswords, doesn't it? Alright, so I don't like the Whirlwind. I don't think it does very much damage. I probably put, like, bolt responsons on the Ball Predators. Possibly, like, I don't know if you need 2 squads of infiltrators at the moment. I guess Chaos Demon... I fought demons with no infiltrators and still beat them, so I'm trying to think, like... And GSC just got changed as well, so, like, do we really need to be running 2 infiltrators? What do people think? Like, do people in the chat feel like you need 2 squads of infiltrators, or does one feel like plenty these days? I've not been running any. But I'd kind of been thinking about running one. Tal's been running one with the full boss librarians, so they can't be shot. Sephirim has been running one. Yeah, maybe. Like, I think maybe you could do one squad of infiltrators, one squad of incursors. Maybe that incurser meta is going to come back where the +1 to hit helps. The Death Company Dreadnought in reserve, I think, is cool. The Sanguinor, I guess, is a cool unit. It seems like it's going to be a tough game for the Sanguinor, though, because there's not many other melee units he's going to join, so he's going to do shenanigans maybe with the Sanguinor. Yeah, overall I don't mind this list. I feel like I would play it. I think the Whirlwind is the thing that I don't like. Yeah, I think probably the Whirlwind is the only thing I don't like in this list. And maybe the second squad of Infiltrators. So maybe I'd like drop the Whirlwind and the Infiltrators and use 250 points to do something else. I'm not entirely sure what else. But I feel like I could do something else with that. Like maybe a squad of Blade Guard for 90 points and then you've got 160. What could you do with 160? I don't want. I feel like I don't want to just recommend. Yeah, I mean, 160 is almost like. You could do a squad of Vanguard veterans for 105 with Storm Shields and then a squad of Voidsmen for 50. So 3 Blade Guard, 5 Vanguard veterans with Storm Shields, a squad of Voidsmen. Is that better than another squad of Infiltrators and a Whirlwind? It's very different, but it could be. What's going in the Repulsor Executioner? He's going to have to put something in it, right? Or it can't start on the board because it's got transport capacity. I guess you could put. I guess he has to start a squad of Infiltrators inside it. Or is the Executioner not a dedicated transport? No, it has transport capacity, but it's not a dedicated one, so he doesn't have to start units inside it. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay. Macidius says, making a 750 point list, Sons of Sanguinius, 5 intercessors with Mephiston, assault intercessors, 5 more with the captain, a chaplain with 3 outriders. Should I add a Ballistus Dreadnought or a Hammer Strike Speeder? I would add the Ballistus Dreadnought because the Hammer Strike needs other units to really get the best of its buff. Because its buff is a shooting buff, really. +1 to wound and shooting. So I think I would add the Ballistus Dreadnought if that's what you're looking at. I'd also try and maybe invest in some jump, like a 5-man Death Company with jump packs, but because I think they're just much better than assault intercessors. They're faster, they do more damage, they can all have power fists. Oh, the Hammer Strike is the ignore cover one. What am I thinking? The Thunder Strike. Yes, then definitely do the Ballistus Dreadnought. My bad. Sorry. Nobody runs Hammer Strikes or Hail Strikes normally. They all just run the Thunder Strike because that is the one that has the best buff. It's also the most expensive, but it makes sense it's got the best buff. Okay. Cool. Okay, so that was 4 lists this week. If you want to get your list on the show next week, what you need to do is post when the show ends in the comment section. Post your list. We'll get it reviewed. I think I'm going to be playing Death Guard this week. I think I'm going to be playing Votann next week. I was going to say, in that point, I think I've played maybe like half the armies that are around in 10th edition of 40k. I'm working my way through them. I don't think I'm going to get a chance to play all of them before I go to my first GT for this edition. But, yeah. So, what was on Warhammer Community today? Because I saw there was an email talking about next week's pre-orders. So this is next week's pre-orders, is it? So there's nothing. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was about orcs. So there's no news on any pre-orders from Space Marines yet. Or was it? There's no Blood Bowl in Terrain? Okay. Right, so we have to wait a few more weeks for the Space Marine one. If we're having to make a few more weeks for it, like, I don't know if I believe this Oath of Moment rumor. I guess we'll see. We'll have to wait and see what this Oath of Moment rumor sounds like. I have second edition Blood Bowl. Like, way old second edition Blood Bowl. I need to finish stripping the models, actually. I haven't played it in ages. The vampires do look nice. That Warhammer Plus model, the new vampire, looks very cool. Okay. In that case, I think that will be us for this week. I am going to take off. I hope you enjoy your Sunday night. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you had enjoyed the show. I hope you learned something. I'll post the link with all the slides that you can download and look at, like all the maths and stuff for 10th edition. I'll put it in the members only Discord later tonight, so if anyone hasn't seen it in a while, they've got access to it. A lot of people think Marine pre-orders will happen on the 30th. Cool, because the 30th is my birthday. I'm going to be 40 this year. It's got me it's got me in a weird mental state becoming 40, honestly. So yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that. It's like thinking that half my life maybe well, apparently great people were born on the same day, Cal. No way. Alright, leave a like on tonight's stream if you can. We'll get more lists on the show as always next week. And tune in on Wednesday night for Death Guard. We'll see their new rules. And probably going to get my ass kicked by Death Guard, I imagine. So maybe I'll see some of you guys then. Enjoy your evening. Take care. Good night.